Everybody, good to see you again. I hope you're happy to be back. I'm happy to be back. Boy, I love vacation. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong. But dang, do I hate missing what I do. You know what I mean? Sometimes we get tired of doing what we do and we get frustrated by it because we keep doing it for so long. But boy, it feels good to be back. Hope everyone had an awesome time. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, but we're here now, and I'm glad everyone's here. So I know the former president's still talking, so we're not going to have a whole bunch of people in here right now. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter. We still got to do our thing like we always do. So for the people who are here, let's carry on, shall we? Welcome to Crypto After Dark. If you haven't done so, please go hit like. It's free. It costs nothing to hit like around here. The more likes we get, the more people who watch, the more people who get the message. YouTube will help us spread it around if you hit like. Also, while you're there, hit the notification bell. And don't forget to subscribe. Hey, more subs, better. Can't complain. The more subs we get, the more outreach we have, the more people we can help, okay? So, without further ado, let's dig into a couple charts here. So, a lot's happened in the last bit since we've been on here. And it's good because they really needed to see this market rebound. I was starting to lose a little bit of faith, not going to lie. But the good news is it doesn't really matter what I think the market's going to do, what the market's going to do. I'm going to show you some stuff tonight. It's going to throw you off a little bit, all right? But I'm seeing some similarities that I think are pretty cool. And depending on the way the rest of the world works and the things that happen that may or may not progress and may or may not go the way we do or don't want them to, we may see the market go wild later on this year and perhaps all of next year. Now, obviously, that's speculation. I don't like to speculate. It's subjective. It doesn't bring facts. It brings opinion. And opinions like buttholes, man. Everybody got one. Don't nobody want to see it. So I don't want to go too far down the speculative path, but I also think it's important to kind of say what you mean, right? So nonetheless, since we were on here last, all the way back over here, Thursday, July. When was the last time we did a live stream? Was it the 11th? It was 11th, yeah. She was all the way back under the AEMA, and boy, how things have progressed. So let me go through this a little bit at a time here. If we take away all the other moving averages and just have the 200 moving average up there, you've all seen me talk about it before. The 200 moving average is kind of like a big, massive speed bump, all right? It's a little sticky as well. So imagine in your car, you go over the speed bump too fast, knocks the rim out of balance, and the car starts to wobble, and you have to slow down and stop and pull over, maybe change the tire, think about it, etc. That's what the 200 moving average kind of does, all right? Kind of a big speed bump. And when you go under it like we did here, things tend to slow down. As you see, things did, in fact, slow down. Also, it's quite difficult to break through the 200-day moving average when you come downward toward it or when you go upward toward it. And the really cool thing here is, even though we went under it for a little bit, it didn't take too long, and it did get back over, which is exactly what I was hoping to see while I was gone. We often joke about this. Every single time I go on vacation, charts go up. It's almost like clockwork. It's almost like clockwork. So while I'm gone, things go up. I'm happy about it. I'm glad everyone got to make some money. I was watching. I just couldn't do too much. So I did a little couple trades here and there, but nothing too much, right? Honestly, it was vacation, and I was trying not to look. But let's be real, I'm a bit of an addict, and I can't turn it off. So I don't get addicted to narcotics or anything like that. I get addicted to charts, and it gets stuck in my head, and I can't let it go. So I couldn't stop even while I was there. So when we were on the beach lounging or chilling, or maybe I had the Raycons in or whatever, I was listening to podcasts while I was laying on the beach napping or whatever, I'd pull out the phone every once in a while, look at a couple charts, and I happened to see a couple things looked pretty good, right? So I said, all right, it might be time. So that was the 200 moving average that I wanted to see first. So we've talked a lot about, we've talked a lot about 821 EMAs over the last 5 years. All right, we started doing this in 2019. We started doing YouTube live for everyone in 2020. So it's been a hell of a ride, honestly, right? We've done a lot on here, talked to a lot of cool people and met a lot of cool people along the way. 821 EMA strategy was something we started way back in 2019. All right. So it's been 5 years we've been talking about this very basic stuff, but here we are again. So here's the 821 EMA. 8 EMA is green, 21 EMA is purple. It's very simple. These rules are very simple. We only look for two things here. We want to see two candles consecutively closed over the 8 EMA. 8 EMA is green, and I don't mean going above and going right back below. I mean closed above the 8 EMA. Here's our first candle, and here's our second candle. Very cool. That's two candles closed over the 8 EMA right here. The next thing we want to see is to see the 8 EMA cross upward through the purple line, the 21 EMA. That is our confirmation. We have an 821 EMA cross. We have confirmation. We've got everything we want to see here for the foreseeable future until something changes. Right now, we are well over the 8 EMA. We have 8 EMA above the 21 EMA. Things look fine until this changes. There's nothing to worry about here. Okay? Very simple, very easy, no fuss, no muss. All right? Now, that doesn't go for all altcoins. That's just Bitcoin. Okay? So let's flip it on to the 50-day moving average. I've talked about this also. 50-day moving average couldn't be more simple. All right? This is it. Two closes over the 50. Bueno. Here's one. Here's two. That's it. That's good enough. Now we wait. If it closes 2 times under the 50, and as you see, it has not closed under the 50-day moving average. If it closes under the 50-day moving average, we can consider selling it. That hasn't happened yet. And I just showed you. I want to sneeze. Hold on. I blew my Sharpie over there. I had a pink highlighter Sharpie and I blew it over. Even if we fail the 50-day moving average, we are still well above the 821 EMA, which is slowly creeping its way up there to add extra support all through this range. That means even if I see it drop down to 63, 62, or even 61 and some change, it would still be okay. I wouldn't be freaking out. And that very well may happen, okay? I just want you to see that there's possibility here that this is fine and dandy and you don't need to do anything. So sit back and watch. I am all the way in. All right. I'm not all the way in just one thing. I do have far more Bitcoin this time. All right. I scaled back on some of the altcoins to kind of de-risk a little bit. Felt like maybe I had too much risk going on there. Everyone's risk level is different. So please, for your sake, do your own thing. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. All right. I want you to make your own choices. But that's the good stuff that I see here, okay? I can throw in the pivot. That's one of the bad things. We're still stuck directly under that pivot line. You see that? So, till we break that, let me show you another thing that's still a little iffy. Here's the Ichimoku cloud. Price is still not above the Ichimoku cloud. As a matter of fact, it went right up here and rejected it pretty cleanly. I'd like to see it get inside this cloud at least. That would be a good first step. It hasn't done that yet. So in that case, since it hasn't gotten over the 8 EMA yet, we can kind of expect this thing to potentially tail off and go to the side here and just think about it. Also, it could simply jump right back over into this cloud or over the cloud and get up here and make support. We just have to wait and see and watch. Can't make anything happen. You got to roll with it as it comes, okay? The good news is this at least has 2 out of 2 now. You have conversion line over the baseline. That's a good check mark. And you have lag line over the candles. That's a good check mark. I like it. Now, we don't have a green cloud. We have a red cloud. I want to see that turn green. And we don't have the price over the cloud. We're still very much under it. So we only have 2 out of 2. If you were using the Ichimoku Cloud strategy, the basic thing to do here would be half in, half out until you see some more progress. Till you see this turn green and you see this price jump back over the cloud instead of being stuck under it. Not in the cloud, over the cloud. Okay? That's simple stuff. Now, I'm going to back out a little bit here and show you the monthly. Look at how the monthly chart has all of a sudden flipped more bullish. Instead of having a very ugly candle set up, now you're throwing a big, humongous hammer candle on the monthly. Pretty cool. I'm in linear mode here. It doesn't matter. Log mode, same thing. Big, humongous hammer candle on the monthly. I love it. If I put in any indicators, you'll see all it did so far was bounce the AEMA on the monthly. Not a problem at all. I know it gets a little sketchy sometimes and a little worrisome, but still fine. As far as pivots go, she's still well above R3. How about that? It's holding on to the R3 pivot for the rest of the year. And that ends off in 2024 and starts a new one in 2025 right there. You'll get new pivots when that happens. And undoubtedly, they're going to go higher. All right, you're going to see this pivot line, which is actually way down here, shift up somewhere around here. And if that happens, that means you'll get, something like R1, R2, and R3 up there somewhere. All right. There's a mathematical formula that goes behind it. China Matt's really good with that math. I am not. But China Matt's in our Discord hanging out, and he's there to help everyone just like me. So, I think he's went through this math a couple times with me. I don't remember the exact formula because I'm an idiot. But I do know that when your pivots close higher, especially when you're over R3, you're going to see a big pivot shift up. And that's not to the end of the year. We're only halfway through the year, so it's going to be a bit. All right. That being said, I want to see it hang on. I'd like to see it dance higher here, move up farther. I still like 80 to 100 by the end of the year. As a matter of fact, I think it's possible that we get to that 100K mark by the end of summer. I don't know that for sure. That's more a bit speculation and subjective. I don't have any direct proof of that, aside from fib lines that kind of match up with that zone. But that's guessing, and I don't like to guess. Okay, you guys know I don't like guessing. I like to keep it real, keep it straight. So let me go say hey to everyone's in here real quick. If you haven't done so, please go hit like. There's not very many people on here tonight, and I kind of expect it to be that way. Dude's talking on TV. He's the star. But if you're new here, welcome. We love everyone here. We don't care. It's all 100% charts. No BS, no games, no hopium. We don't do any of that. It's all data-based and fact-based, objectively speaking, no subjective BS. The subjective BS doesn't make you any money. All subjective stuff do is make good talking points, okay? So go hit like, man. Help out the channel. More likes we get, the better, all right? So what's up, Slutty Roo? How you doing, man? What's up, Tex? Cody Kensel, how are you? Dev, thank you. Glad to make it safe, too. I love that. I didn't want to leave. Neither did the family, for what it's worth. I miss home, don't get me wrong, because there's nothing like my bed. But if I had a mattress like I have here, and I had the good air conditioning like we got here, then I'd have been fine, and I couldn't have left. I could just stayed there. Carmine Glitch, what's up, brother? Thank you for taking your vacation, BTC Sword. You're welcome, dude. Andrew Ionosco, good to see you. Coffee Break Trader, what's up, brother? Good name, I like that. Bullish CEO, how you doing, brother? Cycling Cotton, what's up, Josh? Jehovah's Thickness, good to see you. Colo Colo, how are you? Jeremy D, Quigs the Vicious, good to see you. Jason said, switch to watch you. Hey, let's go, dude. That's awesome. I mean, I kind of wanted to watch everything he was going to say, but I mean, I can watch the replay. You know what I'm saying? We try to always maintain the schedule here and do it straight up, right? I don't like cutting corners and stuff. So, anyway, Brian W, what's up, my guy? Good to see you. He says, been a minute. It has been a minute, and I'm glad to see you, dude. Yeah, I kind of changed my stance a little bit. I don't really like politics. When you try to take a man's life, man, that's next level, bro. And I can't sit by and watch that anymore. That's too much, dude. That's too much, man. You got to pick a side at some point. You can't fence sit forever. I'm a pretty habitual fence sitter when it comes to politics. So, yeah, I can't have that. I'll do my part, and I'll go vote this time too. I'm not really a fan of the man Trump. I don't, You know what I mean? I don't know him. I always said that Obama kind of seemed like a cool guy to hang out with. Seemed like a good dad and stuff, which is what I like. I didn't like his politics. Now, inverse that. I don't necessarily Trump seems like a nice guy or not, but I like the policies. So I'll do my part. That's about it. I don't like any other politicians. So even local ones. I mean, I live near a senator, a couple houses down from a senator. So, that's about it for me. So that's all I'll say. And then we'll keep moving on. So next on the docket here is total market cap, not Ethereum. And I'll get to XRP in a minute. Everyone loves to talk about XRP. I get it, but we'll record that and put that on X also because everybody's on the hopium needle right now. You'll see why. First, let's go to total market cap, and then we'll do dominance. All right, this is important. Here's total market cap. I wanted you to see the monthly on this as well. Big hammer candle coming off the AEMA. Magnifique. Love to see it. What's up, Don? Thank you, Carmen. So anyway, I like it coming off the AEMA here. Bit less of a hammer candle than Bitcoin. At the same time, I'm cool with this, even if it wants to throw like a dragonfly doji candle here. I'm also cool with that. We still have 12 more days, 13 more days to go in this month. So it's only half over. There's a good possibility we see some more up and down here. But if we can hold anywhere near the $2.25 trillion level, $2.25 trillion level, that's great to me. Because what that shows is it wants to show good buy pressure and not so much sell pressure. And that buy pressure will carry on to the next 2 or 3 months behind that. All right. I do expect it to slow down still when we hit the end of August. I expect the September slowdown. And we'll see about October, but that's too far out still to tell. I have high hopes for it, but you know how everyone is about the month of October and how I like to stick that needle in that arm. And that's not my thing, man. I don't like that at all. But total market cap mimicking Bitcoin very well. As you see, Bitcoin's still the king, which leads me into Bitcoin dominance. All right, so Bitcoin dominance still tracking nearly dead sideways, refusing to give up. I've been expecting this to fall for a while, and dominance did exactly what I didn't think it would do and just go completely dead sideways. How about that? So in log mode, we're not quite up to the 618 level, which is way up here, which is where I thought it would go. But it's playing this game here, what's kind of building this big wedge. And it's all boiling and heading right over here. We're going to see what's going to happen here in the next few days to a couple weeks. So far, still over the 50, over the 8, and over the 21 EMA. You see it there. It's everything I just talked about on Bitcoin, yeah? Well, you see Bitcoin dominance still flexing some. Not wanting to give up the goose. Refusing. I do think it eventually does give up here, but it might be a minute. You know what I mean? I'm kind of getting this vibe that this is too far down and we may do this, but we're probably going to run up here, do something like that. And then we'll figure it out. I mean, I drew this way back. I drew this dotted line way back and it's been pretty accurate. Not perfect. I kind of pride myself on being more perfect. I wasn't. It's close, but I think I should have been closer. In linear mode, the problem is we're still pinned under the 50 fib here. It still hasn't broken. Still hasn't broken that 56% level, and it may not. It may just tag that 56% level, and then roll over. This I don't know. What I do know is it refuses to give up. It keeps hanging on, keeps not letting go, and as long as that's the case, alts will underperform, relatively speaking, to Bitcoin. You'll continue to see them follow Bitcoin's lead and not have big, massive breakouts like you want them to. Now, that being said, let's go look at a couple others that look similar and have somewhat of a breakout, but not exactly. First one being Ethereum. Don't mind all these lines. This is a big weekly lines that I have drawn. It's a big, huge gang grid. But Ethereum did come down, tag the 50 fib, and hang on. It refused to let go. It didn't let go, which I love, and because of that, this gives me pretty good confidence that Ethereum's probably going to hang on here and not fail past this $2,800 to $3,000 level. I don't think it'll let go past that. I can't be for sure, but I do believe it hangs on. All right, so pulling some fibs on it. You see that we're kind of hanging on here. Kind of hanging on, kind of not letting go. Above the 50 fib, under the golden pocket. Still hasn't quite cracked loose. However, over the 821, unlike Bitcoin, is still under the 50-day moving average. So some good, some bad. Better than it was. We're not so bearish, right? We started to flip back bullish. And what I see here is, if this is the case, and we're not going to let go of these lower levels down here, this is more bullish than bearish, and it's likely that all the bottoms are in. That doesn't mean every coin. It means most. I would say, 90% of them. Your bottom's probably in. Could be a little worse, but for the most part, everything seems to be hanging on. And if that's the case, well, try to get all you can. I want everyone to make as much money as they possibly can. By doing that, you're going to have to put more money in. I don't want you to spend money if you don't have it. But if you have stable coins, now might be the time to get all you can in. You know what I mean? Find their spots, get ready, DCA what you can if you need to. I know I did. I had a couple that went into the non-positive, down into the negative, so I had to DCA them. The good news is the ones I've DCA'd have mostly come back up, which is good. I had a couple of them go above it into the profits. So thought about selling them, haven't yet, decided I'd wait a couple of days and make a better decision. And that's good. I'm glad I did, because they're still kind of bouncing around and figuring things out. That's important to do, right? You're going to need to do that because, hey, man, in case someone told you, if you don't have a plan, you're SOL. All right? What's up? Been a while since I've been here. Just wanted to check. I'm glad to see you, Don. 1 foot in, 1 foot out right now. I get it. All right, so now to the elephant in the room, shall we? Let's type it in here. Which one do I want to use? Binance? Let's use the Binance one. Why not use the Binance one? All right. Elephant in the room, XRP. Over the last several days, this chart has done very well. It's sprinted up off of being one of the worst cryptos into being a little bit better than one of the worst cryptos. It's still not great. For what it's worth, most people on the hopium needle here, and y'all know that. Y'all know that. Most of y'all are on the hopium needle and you never get off of it. And it's okay to be that way. I don't want to insult anyone. You're going to do what you're going to do, and I appreciate it. But you need to know it doesn't make you any money. So with this recent run up, it felt good, but I need you to know you're running head first into a brick wall of resistance here. The green dotted line that you see on the screen right there, that's the current price. And you can see what that current price is starting to run into as far as resistance. Resistance from 2017, resistance from 2018, just above June 19, that's good. Problem is you've got resistance on 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022. You're above this one, that's good. Problem, you're running right into resistance from 2023, 2024, 2024. All of this is resistance that the price has to try to push through. The problem is that ain't easy. It's very difficult to push through resistance. The more you have of it, the harder it is to push through. This is why I've often said that XRP is in a bad spot, because there's more resistance on this chart. It's older, it took longer, it consolidated to the right farther. All that created resistance. While it did create support, it also created resistance. Resistance is very difficult to get through, and it causes a big holdup, big speed bumps, and causes you, well, to get impatient and upset. And then when you see any little movement, you get very excited, you get very pumped up, and you get very full of hopium, only to have it let you down again. I want you to stop doing that, because it doesn't make you any money. All right? You got to release those emotions from your head and try to make the best decision you can based on logic, based on objective truth, not subjective truth. All right? Now, good news, that move up helped. You had a solid bullish engulfing right here. In case you don't know what that is, that's when the candle behind the big red candle completely closes above it. And it did. You can see the red candle closed here, green candle closed way up here. That's bullish engulfing. Problem. Now you've started to create a big, humongous wick on the top of this candle, which means sell pressure. The exact same things happened a few times over on XRP in the history. Back in 2016, it did this. Back in 2020, it did this. It's doing it again now. All right. This usually means that we're going to get some more buying behind it, but it may not actually get over the previous level that it created. May tail off a little bit to the side over here until the end of the year, and then we start up again. I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. So we pull up some moving averages for you. Hey, guess what? You're getting stuck in the mud. Here's the 821 EMA and the 50 moving average. This is weekly, not daily, but you can see it wants to respect them both. It does not just want to push through everything. It's trying its best to be respectful now. Day late and a dollar short, I know, but it's time to be respectful. Here's the other moving averages. I threw in the blue 100-day moving average, which is here, and the weekly 200 moving average. I said 100-day, 100-week moving average, and the 200-week moving average. As you can see, it tried to push up through that 200, but that 200 is a speed bump. Punched it right in the face, and back it rolls, okay? And since it's rolled back, it's cut into more of a buyer position than a seller position. Now we go down to the daily, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's a daily chart. Jumped every one of the moving averages. If you go back and watch on a previous live stream, I talked about this days or weeks ago. What's up, China Matt? Good to see you, brother. I talked about this days or weeks ago, that eventually XRP would jump over these moving averages and sit on top. I've said that over and over again, and here you go. It did exactly that. We were waiting on this. This is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is it's now on support rather than under all resistance. But remember, you have a lot of resistance up here, holding the price down, trying to keep it from going up. Not a bad thing. It will continue to consolidate to the side over here a little bit and think about it. I'm not sure how far. I do think we have another break coming here at some point, and we should push a little higher. All right. How far? That's up for debate just yet. I'm going to show you now what I did. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So I went ahead and sold all of mine right there on that red dotted line that you see. While I was sitting on the beach, I said, hey, I'd like to get in and get this sold, but I want to make sure my order sells first. So I set it at 56.5. 56.5 seemed like a reasonable number to me. It was near the short-term 1618. It could go farther past that, but either way, I'd be in profit if it hit that. If it didn't hit that, that's fine. I could do a little more later, a little less. It's all right. I could hang on to it. No big deal. But if I could get some profit, I would. So it ran up and hit 56.5. I immediately swapped out to Bitcoin to be a little bit more safe, to de-risk a little bit. Said I immediately said, hey, I'll rebuy this later if I get the chance. I already have a chance to rebuy it if I want for cheaper. I think I'm going to hold off a little bit and wait. There's other assets that'll probably do a little bit better. That's what my thinking is. I could probably buy something else that does more percentage than this, so I'll wait. I don't think the big move happens on this until later. I think the big move is yet to come, and that'll probably be over here somewhere in November, which is post-election. It's happened this way 2 other times on XRP, and I'll show you that again here. Here is 2020 over here. All right. Right over here is the buy zone in 2020. Same spot we are now. Same little move up we've done right over here. And then after that, you see we had this nice sweeping breakout here before it made a bit of a triple top and slowed down. We're doing the same thing right now. See? You had that little bit of a breakout. We could do a big sweep and move up before we do a triple top and break down in this November area. That's my hopeful logic. That's what I'm hoping happens, because that would make the most sense, because XRP's done this 2 other times, not just 1 other time. Here's the first time it did it, which is back in 2016. All right, here's 2016. You had this very abrupt move up with a secondary move after that. It eventually made a bit of a triple top. It slowed down and rolled over till after the quote-unquote last chance line. It slowed down a little bit, kind of back tested trend line, and took off before the halfway mark. You see that? That halfway mark here? That's halfway between halving and the end of the bull run. Same thing happened over here in 2020. See that? Here's last chance. Just before halfway was up in December, it made its move up. That was after it made its move up in November. Then the lawsuit hit and all that crap, right? Nonetheless, it started its move up, hesitated, and then made another move. Now, this started back in November of 2020. Here we are again. Similar story. All right, we started our move up and may get one more push before we trickle over and matriculate sideways to the trend line. Set over here in November somewhere. We'll find our buy zone. From there, we should get our more aggressive move up. I don't really think it's worth it, quote unquote, for me to be in this until later on in November. It may be a little higher in price by then, but I think the money that I have now is better used elsewhere until we get there. I know it sucks that it's not happening right now, but that's part of the game, all right? You don't get to pick when it happens. You just got to kind of take it as you get it. Cool? That's my take on XRP. I'm still waiting on it. It needs some more time. I'm happy to wait it out. All right, so that's going to piss people off, but is what it is. Let me see what people are saying. What's up, Pete Navarro? Good to see you, brother. AVAX will do better than XRP. I think so. I think a lot of assets will do better than XRP for what it's worth. It's a top 5 asset, so it's got less X's in it. And you'll see more X's with stuff with lower market cap. That's how it works. It's called math. The multiples are just harder to make the more money that's in something. Can't change that. Can't do anything about it. All right. So, all right. Oh, by the way, if you haven't done so, please have a look at our Discord. We have a few spots open. It's wap.com/team786. I don't think I have. Oh, hold on. Let me fix this real fast. I can fix this real quick. There we go. Let me scale this. I'm doing this live on that. There you go. wap.com/team786. We have a couple spots open. A few people left, and because a few people left, that means a few spots are open. Our spots are always limited now. We'll never have some big, massive amount of people in our Discord. But if you want in, here is your chance. wap.com/team786. First month's free on us. Just show up, try. You'll be amazed what happens when you get around people who are smart and not feeding your hopium. That's my little spiel for you. All right. Thank you, Bullish CEO. It's well worth a couple bucks, in my opinion. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on checking a bunch of altcoins. Again, it's just not time to be worried about a bunch of altcoins. You're feeding into the hopium cycle if you do so. But I will talk a little bit about DAG. A lot of people have asked me about this one. I went ahead and bought some. I went ahead and bought some because it hit the buy zone that I charted out, and I'm a man of my word. All right. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. That's all there is to it. So once we got to our buy zone here, I had some extra money. I had some stable coins sitting on the beach thinking about it. I said, you know what? Should I go ahead and buy this? So I went ahead and bought it. Simple as that. I think there's probably 6 to 10x in this. I think it probably gets back to 23 to 25 cent. And because of that, that's a good 8x of return. That's 1,000 into 8,000, right? I'm cool with that. I could maybe make some more money somewhere else. This is so far down that it feels like the right time for me to take a chance on it. But I want you to know it's not necessarily the best time chart-wise. I'm taking a chance by doing this, right? It's still barely over the 821 EMA, even though it's in the buy zone. It's barely over the 821 EMA. It's still pinned down by every single moving average. All right, Ichimoku Cloud still getting smashed. Has nothing going for it there. Pivots, it is on S1, but it's under the daily pivot. That's not bullish until it flips it. Here's your RSI. We do have bullish divergence. See that? There's just some strength building on the RSI with price fairly flat. That's bullish divergence. That's the strength building, but the price hasn't caught up yet. Okay. Here's your MACD. It is sloping upward. It is trying to correct. Not quite there. See a lot that look like these that are just not quite there, right? And this is one of them. The worst part of this coin is the community. Everyone thinks they've bought Jesus, and none of them have. You've bought just another coin on just another blockchain. And I know you think that's not the case because somebody told you that somebody's got special stuff and there's magical stuff happening in the background and all that. Stop. Stop. None of that makes you any money. None of that makes you any money. The only thing that makes you money is the price of the asset going up. And if you buy it first. All right. And then the only way you get that money is if you do this crazy thing called pushing the sell button. So then you can get your money back. If you've done that in the inverse order, you're losing. All right. I want you to start thinking more logically and remove the emotions, remove the subjective BS, and get more on a straight line with how we make money around here. All right. It's the only thing you can do to make sure you're going to make money is to drop the BS. You have to get real and have to lock it in. Wish it was different, but it ain't. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly when this thing makes its move, but I do have some historical empirical evidence here to go back to on 2020. All right, so let me roll it back here for you. Over here's 2020, and you know how I feel about fractals, y'all. Here's that July area, August area on DAG back in 2020. You had a pretty similar slow ride. It was kind of just driving sideways. It's going more downward now, but that's this move that we just had here. What we haven't got yet is this very aggressive breakout north and a little bit of a top out in August, right? We just haven't got any of that yet. DAG is kind of sitting right around here in this area, just idling, thinking about it. And the thing is, there's not a ton of meat on the bone on this move currently. It would be good, but not outstanding. After that, again, you have this same rollback on the price, right? Same rollback that it did before on everything else that may slow everything down just like it did back in 2020, right? I don't expect everything to go flying until post-election. That really kind of started in November here. From there, she was an early top. All right, this thing topped out rapidly, and that was pretty much it. See that? She started early, and it ran real fast all the way up here to October 2021. Then it was done. It never really recovered after that. It just one shot, boom, straight up, and was done. All right. I kind of expect similar over here for this. It just, again, it's just not broken out yet. It's close. It's close. I do expect to start seeing it work its way back up. And remember, Carolina Keith is a snowflake, according to that guy on the internet who's never met me. All right. And likely wouldn't say that to my face. Classic DAG community stuff. Hey Keith, glad to see you back again. How was your vacation? Bro, vacation was amazing. Highly suggest everyone visit the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico is amazing. People are nice. I love Cozumel. It was amazing. People were very welcoming over in Cozumel. Playa del Carmen was great. People were very nice. We didn't run into any mean anybody. People were bending over backwards to help you. It was really cool. I enjoyed it very much. I can't wait to go back. Already been trying to look around and make plans again. So, you know, I'd like to go back as soon as I can, but it's expensive, right? So, you know, when it comes to spending money in the real world, I'm kind of a cheapo. I'm kind of a cheapo. I don't like to blow it. So, I'll go back eventually, right? We'll see. Maybe the Bahamas or something else. Let's look up a couple more real fast. How about Solana? All these bigger coins. I'm not going to do a bunch of low caps. Don't start asking. All right. So Solana looks a little better than most. And what I mean by this is the 886 line. This is the 786 line. These are big, humongous weekly linear, big, humongous weekly log mode fib zones and fib retracement. We don't have another line over here till January. We're right between two different fib time zones. It's, you know, kind of floating in between the two, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Just kind of tells us that we have a continuation one way or the other here that needs to happen. Good news is we have a pretty bullish structure here on the weekly, right? I like how it's formed this bottom here and didn't like to just give up and quit. It fought back right off that 786 line. Did not want to give up support, which is excellent. That means for me is this is likely the floor, and it probably won't push through that level. It may check it again, but it probably won't push through it. That's great. That tells me that this green dotted line right here that you see, which is one of my buy lines, is fine. It's fine. I did throw some extra profits in here at this upper green line. As you see, it's not quite in profit yet, but the bigger one down here is, so it's fine. I'm going to leave it be for now. Again, like I said, I think Solana's going to do pretty darn good this bull run. It may be one of the shining stars. And because of that, I mean, I think it kind of could be like BNB was back in the day. Because of that, I kind of want to leave it alone. And you see here on the daily, pretty decent bullish structure, double bottom, kind of nice rounded double bottom. If I pull fibs on it, you'll see that also a breakout. Can't deny it. I'm happy about that. That leads me to believe that we come up here and break all-time high, or get close to breaking all-time high by getting up here to the 248 range, which isn't far from the ultimate all-time high of about 260-ish, right? Maybe that does that by this summer, the end of this summer. I'm hopeful it does it by the end of this summer. I think we have another run here. I don't think it's done for the summer. I think we have another run. And I think that probably ends up being late August. We'll see. My birthday's in late August. That's probably when it'll happen, right? Throw some moving averages up there. It's above every single moving average. Man, oh man. C'est magnifique, right? Can't hate on that even a little bit. Looks just beautiful. I think timeline wise, this one probably runs a little harder than a couple others. May be worth it to throw some more money into this. I'm thinking pretty hard on it myself. So if I'm thinking hard on it, what are you doing, right? Disclosure Crypto, hey buddy, want to look at Gary Network? No, I'm not going to look at no low caps, bro. What's up, crew chief? Good to see you. All right, so that's Solana. We've already did Bitcoin and Ethereum. ICP's been a little bit of a showstopper lately, but I don't think it's time. What else can we look for? All right. Nah. One we forgot about, XLM. We haven't looked at XLM in a really long time. Everyone just kind of brushed it to the side, forgot about it. And for good reason. Look, it didn't really do much at all since July of last year. It's kind of gone flat and down for a whole year. Kind of wasted your time, didn't it? Well, hey, guess what, everyone? ISO 20022. And fuck out of here. No one cares about any of that, dude. No one knows what you're talking about, first of all. And do you really think the government's going to use a private company to do all this? No. They'll just steal the technology and do it themselves. That's what the government does. You really want to play dumb like that? Come on. You know better. So anyway, here's fibs. Pull these fibs down here to the bottom. We can see that we broke the 236. We broke the 382. And we slapped that 50 fib pretty darn cleanly right there. You can't really ask for a more perfect TA. Since it hit the 50, it went right back down to the 382 and retreated. I bet you there was something there to catch it. And there was. The 100 moving average and the 8 EMA right there are kind of holding on to the price. If it falls anymore, you got the 50-day moving average down here to kind of grab it. We'll see if it can actually hang on or not. It did get stuck under the 200 like a lot of others. It's not going to be easy to break that 200-day moving average. Once we do cleanly break the 200 moving average, you'll see everything kind of flatten out and take off. All right, you won't see anything continue to hang out and suffer. You'll see more breakouts and more positive movements the more farther we get above the 200 moving average. Then you'll see it stretch its legs. And once it really starts to stretch its legs, get away from the 200 moving average, that's when I have people on peak hopium. Slow wrists and in the green. Yeah, that's pretty good, China Matt. That's pretty good. China Matt said 589 stable coins. Bro, you're dead on the money. I wonder how pissed off they still get about all that. I don't really listen to much of that anymore. It's hard to be part of the XRP community because they're so delusional. They're almost as delusional as the DAG community. Now, every once in a while, they have little glimmers of hope. And you look at them and you go, hey, man, you heard you figured that out. That's that. But then the chart goes up and all that goes away. If the chart goes up just a little bit, all that logic goes out the window, and their heart starts pumping, and they're right back into their emotional state again, and it's all feminine energy again. It's all feminine energy again. They can't they can't lower their heart rate. They can't think logically. They immediately start reactive instead of proactive. That's why it's so hard to be a part of those communities. That's why, I try to I try to help, but I go in there and I get butchered. I just get butchered. And it's not worth the effort to argue with a bunch of people who don't want to hear what you have to say. They think they do, and then do tell them the truth. And then after they hear the truth, they freak out. And it's definitely not the truth because it's coming from me, of course, right? Like I have so much skin in the game. But again, I'm going to rebuy some. I've already bought and sold it, and I'll rebuy it. That way no one can complain. If I'm part of it, I own some of it. I'm part of it. You can't really whine, right? Radium, similar to what I just showed you with XLM, only it didn't fail as far. It hit the 50 fib and bounced back, but it caught that 8 EMA right there. Let me remove some of this sloppy, ugly stuff. It's above all these moving averages. It hit that 8 EMA right there and bounced north. It is still hanging on to this day. As long as it continues to hang on, we're going to continue pushing up, and we're likely to come up here toward this green box, which is just under 786, which is at about 270. Now, why do I say that? Well, that's the next fib line up here, because there's the lower fib line right there. That's the 618, I believe. I'll pull back here. We can see. Pull back here. We can see a little bit. There you go. You can kind of see that we ran really, really aggressively. Kind of slowed down a little bit here. I've bought some and sold some. My average price is still well under where we're at, so I'm good to go as far as that goes. Thing is, that's the 618 up there. We bounced support just like we did on Ethereum. I showed you that a moment ago. This one pretty closely mimics Solana, only there's more X's in it than Solana, and that's why I put money in this, not only Solana. This one's pretty similar as far as price action. I think that for that case, this is why I'm going to stick it in this one a little bit longer and not panic and run away. Jupiter is kind of similar with way less chart data. And for that matter, makes me think there's more X's because there's less data. Once we get into price discovery up here and we start breaking out, get above this previous all-time high again, price discovery, this thing may sprint and be very aggressive, okay? At least I'm hopeful. So for that matter, I'm going to stick around in this one. You can see all my green buy lines there. Some of them are up, some of them are down. My average price is, let's see, 1,000. My average price is somewhere around in the middle here at about 80-something cents. So I'm perfectly fine on this one. I can just leave it be. I'm in the profit. I can just leave it be and let it ride. And I plan on it. I showed you those because those are some of the top coins on the Solana network. And I got good gains into them, I think. For that reason, I'm going to stick them out. Yeah, broken trend lines, fib lines look decent. You're over the 821. A lot of other good things going for many, many, many of these coins, okay? So for that reason, be smart here. Make your own decisions. You see me trying to use logic with all this and trying to remove all the emotions that I can. Just think logically. Just think clearly. That's what we're not seeing enough of right now. You're starting to see everyone suck on that hopium straw a little bit. Got to get away from that, man. It's going to punish you. It's going to punish you. Total 3, Cheese just told me about it. This is everything except Bitcoin and Ethereum. Altcoins, as you see, fair, above the 821 EMA. Not bad. You're under some moving averages here, so it's still caught in the wash. Over the 50, I like that. There you go. Let the zoom way in here. I didn't say it. I could have said it, and I'd had to drink. I did get some new chocolate tequila, though, from Mexico. Ooh. So I like this over the 200 and the 50. Very good. Still under the 100. Meh. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4 quintuple tits move coming. Shoo. What does that mean? That's when all the moving averages are crossing each other and bunching up and forming up into one little spot where we're going to see some pretty raunchy price action. All right. I expect this to get raunchy and break north. I'm hopeful anyway. If it's going to do it, it's going to do it in the month of August, and we're running out of time in the month of July. So The next 4 to 6 weeks should show us the light on where our next high comes in at. That next high will give us a swing high, swing low point. We'll be able to monitor how far we can retrace from there and be able to find our darn near right spot in October and or November for us to rebuy. I think it'll be late October, early November, but I'm not positive on that. I'm liking the things they're showing us. Thank you for showing me this, Cheese. This helped out a lot because I didn't see many of these like this. I'd kind of disregarded Total 3. Total 2, which is everything except Bitcoin. As you see, she's trying. This actually looks really similar to Bitcoin, mostly powered by Ethereum and a few alts. But in between the 50 and the 100, hanging tough, hasn't given up just yet. Better than Total 3, but also worse than Total 3, right? You got a little bit better support on Total 3, but this one's farther up than Total 3. This leads me into our comparison with 2020 and 2024. Here on the left, we have 2020. On the left, right here's our halving line. This is about the similarest price action I can find, by the way. Right here's our halving line in 2024. From there, we drove dead sideways, kind of sucked. From here, we drove mostly dead sideways, kind of sucked. It was a little bit more rocky. We had a little bit more up, a little sharper, and a little bit more down, a little sharper, right? This one was kind of slow, right? This one was kind of sharp. Either way, pretty darn similar. Then we had a breakout. Then we had a breakout. Let me zoom in here because then it gets interesting. Then we formed a CME gap back here in 2020. This CME gap never closed. It's still open to this day. It almost closed. See that? But it never did. Came close, but never did. Guess what we got over here in 2024? A CME gap in the exact same place. Now, the chart's a little different. The percentages are different. But the principle is the same here. We have a breakout with a CME gap. Breakout with a CME gap. You see how hard that thing ran afterwards. You see how hard this thing has the open objective room to run afterwards. We're going to see how similar this price action ends up being. This is why I think we have another push left in August. We also had this same push back in 2016. Price action was slightly different. That's why I haven't showed it to you. I still think we're getting a bit of a hybrid between 2012, 2016, and 2020. And that's all kind of moving into our 2024 look. It's slightly different, but close. All right. If I pull up the regular Bitcoin chart, and I'll show you it instead of the CME chart. That was CME, so you saw all the gaps. All right. And there we go. Here's 2020. I size it up correctly here. All right. That's the same move on both sides of the screen here. Same move on the left, same move on the left. Just a little bigger. Let me scale that down some. There we go. If I throw in some moving averages here, it gets kind of cool looking. All right. So there's our 50 and our 100. Here is our 50 and our 100. As you see, right through here, we had a 50, 100 near cross. We went ahead and got that cross over here. So it advanced a little farther and is a little bit worse price action-wise than 2020 was. And the good news is we fought right back through it and started to battle it and break through it. Crazy stuff is, if I show you 2016, this is why I say it's a little bit of a hybrid between the two. This is what happened in 2016. This is right where halving was, okay? Halving was right here. Look how similar it is, dude. Even 2016 is close. A little bit more aggressive back then. But look how the moving averages crossed over. Price got hung up in between them. Moving averages crossed over. Price got hung up in between them. And then look what happened afterwards. Look at that breakout that it had afterwards. Look at the sprint that thing did afterwards till the end of the year. Right? So at the end of the year, way over here, this is the end of the year over here. Break out, make a move, and let's see this thing sprint its legs, stretch its legs, make a move, and go. I don't know that it'll be exactly the same. As a matter of fact, I don't expect it to be exactly the same. But anything close would be great. I think we have a chance for one of, if not the biggest bull run we've ever had. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole because we only have 4 minutes left. We can kind of do that on a different time, but it ain't quite time to party yet, right? We can party a little bit later. It ain't quite time to party yet. We'll get to that point soon. Choose setups, not outcomes. Thank you, Cheese. We're early. I would agree we're still early. It's not quite time yet. We're getting close. And I think everyone realizes we're starting to get close. Not quite there yet, but we're almost there. And I'm getting excited. I'll say that much. I know everyone else is getting excited. I'm getting excited myself. So, a couple minutes left here. Let's have a chat, shall we? Emotions are going to fly high. I want everyone to make as much money as absolutely possible. It is imperative that you get around people who have your best interest at heart. All right? It doesn't even have to be with us. It could be somewhere else. Most of you guys who are going to watch this already know who I am or whatever, but there might be some people on here who normally don't talk. And this is one of the lowest count live streams we've had all year. We had 9 people on at one point. A couple live streams ago, we had like 112, right? So whatever. I don't ever expect a bunch of people to come watch anymore. I think YouTube is kind of went away for us, and same thing for X. I think it's kind of went away. I don't get nowhere near the engagement that I used to because I refuse to do clickbait stuff. I just refuse to do it. I don't like to overwhelm everyone with extremely large words and confuse everyone, and I don't like to continuously shield stuff. It's not cool with me. And because of that, as far as our following goes, it'll always be a little lower. Now, 2025, it's going to get wild, and everyone's going to come looking for answers. I posted on X the other day, everyone hates me right now or doesn't want to be around me or doesn't like me. But when it's all time, y'all come running back to the dope man for another hit, right? You're going to want to know when to sell. You're going to come running to the dope man. Just remember that our Discord will be closed. You're going to be able to get in. So don't come running for me, asking me for answers. Sorry. Afraid the door closes at some point. I want everyone to be able to do this on their own. That's why we come on these live streams. That's why we come on here and talk. That's why we come on here and do this. Shout out to Scott Mitchell. If you're watching, if you go back and watch this, good to see you, brother. I ain't seen you in a few years. Happy to bump into him on the plane on the way to Mexico. Really cool. Holler at me anytime. I can come to the house and show you how I do this stuff. It's really not that complicated, to be honest with you. And you're pretty logical, well thought out. Man, you can figure this stuff out, man. It's really not that hard. Shout out to Josh if you're watching down the street. Senator Josh, good to see you, brother. And I hope everyone else has had a great week. I'm going to be back in the Discord all week long, every week here for a bit. I got the Braves game coming up with the fam in a couple weeks, but that's a couple weeks. I got to run my kids to camp again in a week or two. That's coming up. But that's just camp. Other than that, I'll be hanging out and doing my thing. We'll continue to do our live streams. We do 3 or 4 voice chats a week over in the Discord. Plus, I'm talking to everyone constantly. That's where the real action is. All I do is talk junk on the internet nowadays. I don't really do a lot of TA stuff for everyone because no one really listens. So come hang out over in the Discord if you want. You don't have to. I appreciate everyone coming on here and watching. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are kick ass. For the fact that y'all turned off the RNC to come hang out and watch this is really dope to me. In the spirit of that, thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. I appreciate that. Remember, please make the best of your todays the worst of your tomorrows. If no one else told you, Keith will tell you Keith loves you. Y'all be good. Sky's the limit. I'll see y'all on the next live stream. Peace.